All right, I graduated in the stupid year of 2020, and I genuinely speaking, I think that may have been life changing. I think that may have been the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. If I was to like go back a little bit, I was being forced to go to college and all these other type of things, but like my spirit, like my heart, I knew I was a creator. I knew I was an artist in some type of facet, but even I didn't even think I was an artist or a creator. I lied. I knew I was an entrepreneur. I just didn't know necessarily how that entrepreneurial, spirit was going to be shown, right? But fast forward 2020 hit, and I think that sent the world into like this shock, right? Like we were all at home, right? And imagine this, fresh out of high school, right? We're still kids, right? We don't really know what we want to do. We're just so happy that we have all this free time. And then on top of us not having to go to school for 8 hours of their day, everything's closed. Like I have nothing else to do. That was so lit. I remember sitting there just playing video games for hours on hours on hours. But crazy enough, that's also when I picked back up my content creation journey, right? I started uploading gaming videos and doing that whole little, you feel me, putting in that work. But then I was just getting very discouraged because, of course, I made this video on another channel that I have, because you guys know I've been making channels, but I had went to a school. I went to Cal State Northridge, right, for a business real estate bachelor's thing, I think, right? And I just wasn't messing with it. You feel me? Like I knew that I had the mind to be an entrepreneur. I knew I had the mind to be a creative, but all the little nuances and like prereqs and stuff like that they were trying to have me do that had literally nothing to do with my major was throwing me off so much, and it made me not want to do it. I'm gonna be so real with you. And then, I started picking up different hobbies like my editing and stuff like that, since I was doing it since a kid. It was just like everything around me was just saying like, nah, I don't think I want to stay here. So I ended up dropping out, and that's how I ended up at the film school that I graduated from earlier this year, right? Which is a whole little story, and a whole lot of stuff. Like, bro, that was $100,000 degree. I don't think that was a smart financial decision, right? But that's also something I probably need to talk about, because I know that there's a lot of people who want to go to college, right? There's a lot of people who are thinking about going to college. However, they're either scared or they don't think they can afford it. So like what I want to say is like my experience with college, it's not that hard. You just have to do it. But the hard part is limiting all of the distractions so you actually can do it. Because realistically, these professors, these teachers, they hold your hand on how to do certain things. Like they'll never give you a test that they didn't tell you how to answer the questions. You get what I'm saying? But it comes down to, did you actually sit there in class and listen to what they were saying? Did you actually take the time out to do it? Did you actually ignore all the other BS so you can learn what you signed up for? That was the hard part. But once I got out of that headspace, because I was doing it simultaneously with school, like being an entrepreneur and all this other type of stuff, right? So my focus was never 100% on school, but I knew how to give enough of my focus to it so I can get my degree. Yeah. But then on the flip side of that, right? Now I have a whole bunch of student loan debt, and it's not fun. It's not, yay, yippee, right? And granted, the economy that we're in, there's jobs out there for that degree, right? But on top of that, we're also in a creator economy, right? We're also in a social media, internet money, space right now. So what I went for, visual effects and editing and all this other type of stuff, it actually fits very perfectly into the space that we're in, right? I may not have to go get no crazy job and take years to pay this off. I may be able to pay this off with the content creation, and that's something that I'm happy I did do, right? Because when I dropped out of that Cal State Northridge, right? Yes, I went to a different school, more expensive, but it was aligned to what I actually wanted to do and what I actually wanted out of life. So the process of me like going forward and actually like believing in myself was a little bit easier, because even when moments like I was like, okay, I'm done here, I want to drop out, I'm an entrepreneur, why am I talking to you? You're not helping me. You're telling me, or you're literally not helping the train of thought of being a boss at the fuck all. I don't kind of want to listen to this right now, because this is a little bit of it is true. You know how many times and this is a little bit off tangent of how I started the video, about 2020 changing, people's lives and all that type of stuff. But I remember even times where like I would present my idea to a professor. Now, I don't want to blame it on racism. I don't want to be that guy. Oh, I'm black. I don't want to be that guy. But I had people at the Los Angeles Film School, literal professors. I would pitch my idea. I would pitch, tell them what I want to do. And I would have my own professors almost like on me. You get what I'm saying? Like I had a professor literally say out of his own mouth that he felt some type of way because he was losing jobs to black people, because black people needed to become more like integrated into the spaces. So companies was going out of their way and hiring more black people on purpose. And he felt as if he lost jobs because of black people. Now, if you were to just listen to it with a blind ear, you're like, oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, sorry. But my third eye was wide the fuck open. I was like, oh, you have something against black people. And crazy enough, that was my hardest class. That one was the class where it was like, I feel like I'm having to do more. And I'm getting lower grades. But and I kind of just threw it to the back burner. I had to, how many times I had to implement the headspace of, I'll get the C. I don't even care no more. I'm not finna let this class take that much of my energy. Sorry, not sorry. And it was like the subtleties, of different things happening. But man, I went so off tangent. 2020 really did just change my life, y'all. I don't think if 2020 didn't happen the ways that it did, I wouldn't have made the decisions that I've made, like the legacy moves that I made, like. My grandpa put out the very first rap album. I could have went and got a regular job. I could have went and did anything, right? Like majority of my family's doing. But the fact that 2020 happened and I just so happened to already want to be a creative and entrepreneur, and all of that stuff started happening, it was like I started meeting celebrities. Like my connections is pretty decent. You feel me? Not out of this world crazy, that's why we still putting in that work for ourselves, But the things that I was exposed to after just simply switching my focus was out of this world, right? Like when I tell you I didn't meet my first celebrity until I was already an adult, damn near 20 years old. But I came from a legacy my whole life. You get what I'm saying? Like I grew up very humble and very just secluded to myself, playing my video games, uploading YouTube videos and stuff like that. So when 2020 happened and it really shut everything down, it realigned me in such a way that it was like powerful. Like, I lost girlfriends, I lost friends, I quit jobs. So much stuff happened after 2020. That was a very interesting period. It was. But looking back, I'm actually very grateful, because for some reason I still have the discipline and the ambition to go after the things that I want. And I've noticed that my adversities have always made me sharper or made me stronger. And when I look at the natural flow of life, when I'm not trying to go against the natural progression, things work better in my favor. What do I mean by that? I was stressed out about this college degree, being over $100,000 in debt over a piece of paper. But then when I look back, I was like, man, all of my electives in high school were editing, graphics design, stage tech, theater, the things that I, in other words, turned into a business and my livelihood growing up, So I was looking at so certain things and certain adversities, like, why me? Like, why was this even a lesson I had to learn in the first place to get here? And then I started realizing like maybe this was just the cards that I was meant to be played. You know, maybe my life is playing out how it is meant to play out. And the quicker I stop trying to fight the current and I go with the flow, I may actually progress a lot quicker, which isn't easy, you know, because we all have egos. We all have things that we want our life to play out in a certain way. You know, you get what I'm saying? Like we all have a vision of how we would like things to end up, but that may not always be the case. And something that I'm learning is your vision is usually dead on. You feel me? If you have an idea or a urge that you're going to end up in a specific place, a specific environment with something, somebody, etc., chances are it happens exactly like that. But what you don't know or comprehend is the how or the why. You get what I'm saying? That's going to throw you off a lot when you're like, when you start asking God, hey, I want to be this. I want to get here. I want to, you know, see life from this lens. And he tells you, okay. But then he doesn't tell you that he's going to be adding in all these new experiences. It's kind of like a real time prayer. The moment you go up to God and you're like, I want this, I like this, I want to experience this in whatever facet, you just manifested at least like 10 different experiences, at least bare minimum, into your life based upon that one. Meaning, next thing you know, there's going to be something that happened in your life that you thought was just a random coincidence. That was the stepping stone in order for you to get to the next coincidence, then the next coincidence that was going to magically have you standing right in front of what you asked for. It's the random coincidences that bring us forward. All of my biggest pulls, my just my real just like pushes forward have never been anything that I planned. Nothing of mine that has like really worked, and like I'm sitting there like stunned, like how did I just make this happen? Where did this money come from? I didn't plan it at all. It just happened. I was just living life, and just me doing one thing, that thing happened, that thing happened, that thing happened. I wasn't even focused over there. But since this had a ripple effect and hit over there, you caught a blessing that you weren't even looking at. I hope you guys like understand what I'm saying. And that kind of does relate to, you know, the COVID thing. Like COVID was a blessing in disguise. We didn't know what was going on. We didn't know the depths of how long we were actually about to be sat out the game and everything else. We didn't know none of this. But in retrospect, I start seeing how my major adversities in life brought the best change. Like the breakups, the failed, you know, endeavors, the closed doors, the lonely nights, all of the confusion, like everything that I went through was a stepping stone and needed. And I finally got to the point in my healing journey where I love the shadow work. I don't run from my healing. I don't run from my emotions at all. I purposely get deep and messy into what I feel because I understand that I heal like a king. There's no emotion that's going to get put onto me that's going to break me. All it's going to do is give me more understanding and give me more perspective so I can just become sharper. I can just become stronger in my vessel. So being able to acknowledge how much I've actually been through and how much is not in my control has allowed me to become a lot more confident and a lot more outgoing with my abilities, my gift, my voice, and just everything else, you know, not being afraid of taking the L. Like if I'm going to take the L, if that L was destined, hurry up and give it to me. Why would I delay the L? Hurry up. Come here. So I can, you know, you feel me? Keep it pushing, go on to the next thing. And just that courage, like I said before, has changed a lot. I was half stepping in a lot of goals because I just simply didn't have the balls. Keep it 100. But once I got out of my way and I stopped looking at myself as a victim, boy, everything changed. Everything changed. Viewing yourself as a victim will have you swimming in your own bullshit. The moment you're like, this happened, but I'm not a victim. I'm still like integratively and morally centered. You will give yourself enough room to make the necessary actions to not be the victim in that situation. But if you view yourself as the victim, you're most definitely going to be the victim. It's all a lot of these things in life is a mental game. It's a mental perspective. It's how you're viewing things and how you're choosing to use it as information or fuel going forward. Everything that happens to you is fuel. It's going to be stored in your body somewhere. But it's up to you to be like, am I going to use this to feel sorry about myself, or am I going to use this to love myself? Am I going to use this as a testimony to like, hey, maybe I'm stronger than what I thought, because God wouldn't have gave me this if I couldn't handle it. Something in me can handle it, and that says a lot. You feel me? So, with that being said, I do love you guys. I do love you guys. I do love you guys. Let me know if 2020 changed y'all's like perspective on life, changed your trajectory or anything like that, because 2020 was a very impactful year for the whole world. You know, that it really shut shit down. And I'm almost certain there was a whole lot of spiritual awakenings and, you know, just detours that caused people's life to just, you feel me? So with that being said, I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. Go down in the description, Message to South Central, and my guided healing meditation ebooks down there for y'all to check out. And without further ado, I'm going to see y'all in the next video. Peace.